Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is episode 3 of the series Getting the Most Out of Ramadan. Getting the most out of Ramadan is focused on distinguishing between the traditional fast and the prescribed fast. The distinction between a cultural fast where we do what everybody else is doing, we enjoy, we eat, and the life-changing fast. The fast which is supposed to make us better people. Because Allah didn't prescribe fasting just to starve us. That's not the point. He prescribed fasting for us to make us better people. So in the second episode, when we started to discuss now the ultimate goals of fasting, we pointed out that ultimate goal was Jannah, just as it's the ultimate goal of life. So that's what we have to keep in mind. That's the long-term goal. But there are short-term goals. Fasting has been prescribed for short-term goals which help us to reach and achieve the long-term goal. So what's the short-term goal? The short-term goal is taqwa. Very simply, taqwa. Consciousness of God. God consciousness. And we see that in the verses, the well-known verses, that Allah says, كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ. Fasting has been prescribed for you as it was prescribed for those before you. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. In order that you would gain God consciousness. So that is the short-term goal. That's the immediate goal. And taqwa is the engine of faith. Everything is built on taqwa. Without taqwa, everything we do in Islam is useless. It's just ritual acts. It doesn't have any impact on ourselves. It may benefit other people, like giving zakah. It benefits people if you give the zakah. But for you, it's a ritual act which doesn't benefit you. So taqwa has to be there for these acts to benefit the people who are actually doing them themselves. So taqwa, that's why the Prophet ﷺ had said, at-taqwa ha-huna. He pointed to his heart, saying, this is where taqwa sits. This is where it is. If you have it, then everything goes right. If you don't have it, then your life is chaos. It's confused. You may be thinking you're doing what's right, but that's not what's really happening. So the short-term goal for us to keep in mind is taqwa, consciousness of God. It's that taqwa which is built by the fast, knowing that nobody else knows that you're fasting. If you think about it, nobody else knows that you're fasting. Well, they assume you are, but inside yourself you could not be fasting. Maybe you didn't do suhoor, you had regular breakfast. When nobody's looking, you pull out a Snickers bar, you take a bite, enjoy, put it away. Nobody knows. Who knows? They can't see it in your eyes, they can't see it in your face, So what stops you from taking that Snickers bar? It's your consciousness of Allah. If it is your consciousness of Allah, then your consciousness is built. If it's just because there are people around and you feel embarrassed that they're going to see you, then okay, you didn't eat, but that is not going to increase your faith in any way. That's just like, okay, people are around. When they're not around, then I can take my bar, right? So the idea here is for us to give up the halal, because what Allah is asking us to give up in fasting is not haram things. These are halal things. To give up the halal for that period of time, to build our willpower and our consciousness so that we would give up the haram things. That's the idea behind it. Giving up the halal, what is permissible, what is good, in order to strengthen our willpower to give up what is bad, what is forbidden. That's the concept behind it. And that's the building of taqwa, the consciousness of Allah. So keep that in mind. Those things which help us to be more conscious of Allah in Ramadan, try to do them as much as we can. Those things which take us away from the consciousness of Allah, which distracts us. We spend our time watching football games, listening to music, playing cards, all these different things which just take your mind away. It's enjoyment, it's fun, you enjoy it, etc. But what is it going to do for you spiritually? Nothing. It only deadens your heart. So those things, just for this 1 month, in a year, only 1 month, put those things aside. We're not saying these are forbidden things, but they're things which don't bring you closer to Allah. And this is the month where you're trying to get closer to Allah, being more conscious of God. So, brothers and sisters, let this be the month of taqwa. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.